Picture this. You wake up every morning chasing happiness, yet somehow it always stays one step ahead of you. You achieve more. You earn more. You work harder. You finally receive the things you once believed would change your life. But after the excitement fades, that deep and lasting peace still does not remain. So let me ask you something. What if the real cause of your unhappiness is not your circumstances? What if it is one hidden illusion the Buddha exposed more than 2,000 years ago? An illusion so quiet and deeply rooted in the mind that almost everyone lives inside it without realizing it. It follows you into success. It follows you into relationships. It follows you into every new goal. And even when life gives you exactly what you wanted, it quietly whispers, "This is still not enough." Tonight, we will uncover this illusion layer by layer. Stay until the final lesson, because the deepest truth is not what most people expect. And once you see it clearly, you may never chase happiness in the same way again. If you are ready to break free from craving, stress, and dissatisfaction, comment, "I choose peace." Like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more Buddhist wisdom that helps you understand your mind and return to yourself. 1. The promise that never stays. Every human heart carries a quiet promise. It is a promise we rarely say out loud, but it shapes almost every decision we make. The promise sounds something like this: "If I can just get this one thing, then I'll finally be happy." For one person, that one thing is money. For another, it is finding the right relationship. Someone else believes happiness is waiting inside a bigger house, a better job, a healthier body, or more success. Maybe your promise is even quieter than that. Perhaps you simply tell yourself, "Life is difficult right now. When things finally calm down, then I'll be able to enjoy my life." At first, there seems to be nothing wrong with thinking this way. In fact, it sounds completely reasonable. After all, who wouldn't feel happier with fewer problems? Who wouldn't enjoy having enough money to pay the bills without worrying every month? Who wouldn't want someone who truly loves them? Who wouldn't want a life that feels easier than the one they are living today? The Buddha never said these things were bad. He never told people that love is wrong. He never said money is evil. He never taught that success should be avoided. That is one of the biggest misunderstandings people have about Buddhism. The problem is not the things themselves. The problem is the invisible promise our mind attaches to them. Without even realizing it, the mind quietly whispers, "This is what you've been missing. This is what will finally complete you. This is the last piece of the puzzle." And because that whisper feels so believable, we spend years chasing it. Imagine carrying an empty cup everywhere you go. Whenever someone pours water into your cup, you feel relieved. For a little while, the cup is full. You smile. You feel hopeful. You think, "Finally, this is it." But hidden underneath the cup is a tiny crack. Very slowly, without making any sound, the water begins to leak out. Hour after hour, day after day, the cup slowly becomes empty again. Instead of noticing the crack, you begin searching for more water. You look for a bigger bucket, cleaner water, a different place, a different person, a different opportunity. You become convinced that the answer is simply finding more. But no matter how much water you collect, the cup never stays full. The Buddha wanted us to see something most people never notice. The real problem was never the amount of water. The real problem was the crack. Now think about your own life. How many times have you been absolutely convinced that one thing would change everything? Perhaps you spent months dreaming about buying something expensive. You imagined how exciting it would feel. You pictured yourself using it every day. You believed it would make life so much better. Then you finally bought it. For a few days, maybe even a few weeks, you felt excited. You looked at it constantly. You couldn't stop thinking about it. But then something interesting happened. The excitement slowly disappeared. The thing you couldn't stop thinking about became completely ordinary. You stopped noticing it, not because it became worse, but because your mind became used to it. The same thing happens with success. Someone works for years to earn a promotion. They imagine how different life will feel once they finally achieve it. The day arrives. They celebrate. Friends congratulate them. They feel proud. But after a little while, the new position simply becomes normal. Now there are new goals, more responsibilities, more pressure, and the mind begins looking toward the next achievement. The same pattern appears in relationships. Someone spends years hoping to meet the perfect partner. They finally fall deeply in love. Their heart races every time they see that person. Every conversation feels exciting. Every message feels special. They cannot imagine ever becoming used to this feeling. But months or years later, the relationship becomes part of daily life. The excitement naturally changes. Then the mind quietly begins asking another question. What else do I need? This doesn't mean the relationship has failed. It doesn't mean love has disappeared. It simply reveals how the human mind works. The mind quickly turns extraordinary experiences into ordinary experiences. Modern psychology calls this the hedonic treadmill. The Buddha recognized this truth more than 2,000 years ago. He simply described it in a different way. The mind keeps adjusting. It keeps getting used to everything. Then it starts searching again. This is why people who become rich often still feel poor. This is why famous people still struggle with loneliness. This is why someone living in a beautiful home can still feel empty inside. From the outside, everything looks complete. But inside, the mind continues whispering, something is still missing. Have you ever noticed this happening in your own life? Take a moment and think back. There was probably something you once believed you absolutely had to have. You may have prayed for it, worked hard for it, lost sleep over it. You honestly believed, if I can just have this one thing, everything will finally be okay. Now ask yourself something. Where is that thing today? Maybe you already have it. Maybe you don't even think about it anymore. Maybe it sits somewhere in your house collecting dust. Maybe it became such a normal part of your life that you hardly notice it at all. What changed? Did the object lose its value? Did success suddenly become meaningless? Did the relationship stop mattering? Not necessarily. What changed was your mind. Your mind quietly moved the finish line. The place where happiness was supposed to begin moved a little farther away, then a little farther again, and then even farther. Without realizing it, you found yourself chasing another goal, and then another, and another. Many people spend their entire lives running after happiness without ever asking themselves one simple question. What if the problem isn't that I haven't reached the finish line? What if the finish line keeps moving because my mind keeps moving it? That question changes everything. Because if happiness always depends on reaching tomorrow, then today can never be enough. If peace only exists after the next achievement, then peace will always remain in the future. You will constantly postpone your own happiness. You will keep telling yourself, I'll enjoy life later, I'll rest later, I'll smile later, I'll finally feel complete later. But later keeps becoming another later. Years quietly pass. Life keeps changing. The chase never ends. The Buddha did not ask people to stop living. He did not ask them to stop working toward meaningful goals. He simply invited them to notice the invisible habit hiding underneath every chase. The habit of believing, this next thing will permanently complete me. Because every time we believe that promise, we unknowingly hand our happiness over to something outside ourselves. And whatever depends on changing circumstances can never remain stable. But here is where the illusion becomes even more powerful. The endless search for more is only the surface. There is something much deeper controlling the chase. There is someone inside your mind who keeps saying, "I need more. I am not enough. I will be complete one day." The Buddha asked a question that completely changes the direction of this journey. Who is this I that is always searching? And what if that I is the greatest illusion of all? That is the truth we begin uncovering in the next lesson. 2. The person you think you are. Have you ever noticed something strange about yourself? The person you believe you are today is not the same person you were 10 years ago. Your body has changed, your face has changed, your opinions have changed, your dreams have changed. Even the things that once made you cry may no longer affect you at all. Think back to when you were a child. The toys you couldn't live without mean almost nothing today. The fears that kept you awake at night have disappeared. The people whose opinions once felt so important may not even be part of your life anymore. Everything has changed, yet somewhere inside, you still feel like there is one permanent person called me. Without questioning it, we spend our lives protecting this me, defending it, improving it, comparing it, worrying about what others think of it, trying to make it look more successful, more attractive, more important, more lovable. But the Buddha asked one of the most revolutionary questions in human history. What exactly is this me that you're trying so hard to protect? Most people answer immediately. I know exactly who I am. But do they? Imagine standing beside a river. You look at the river and give it a name. Every day you visit, you call it the same river. Yet the water flowing through it today is completely different from the water that flowed yesterday. Every single second, new water arrives. Old water disappears. The river keeps changing. But because it has the same name, your mind believes it is exactly the same thing. The Buddha said we do something very similar with ourselves. We give ourselves a name. We have memories. We have a face. We have a story. So we assume there must be one fixed, permanent self hiding somewhere inside. But when you look carefully, can you actually find it? Is it your body? Your body has been changing every single day since you were born. Is it your thoughts? Your thoughts change from morning until night. One moment you feel confident. An hour later, you feel uncertain. Tomorrow, you may think something completely different. So can your thoughts truly be who you are? Is it your emotions? Anger comes, then it leaves. Joy appears, then sadness replaces it. Peace arrives, then anxiety visits. If emotions constantly come and go, how can they be your permanent identity? Maybe it is your memories. But even memories change. Some become clearer, others disappear. Some are even rewritten by the mind without us realizing it. Scientists have discovered that memory is not like watching a video recording. Each time we remember something, the brain quietly rebuilds parts of the memory. In other words, even the story you tell yourself about your past is constantly changing. So where is this fixed person you've spent your entire life defending? This question is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to free you. Because most suffering begins the moment we become trapped inside an identity. Someone criticizes you, and suddenly you feel personally attacked. Someone ignores your message, and your mind says, "They don't respect me." Someone else becomes more successful, and your mind whispers, "I'm falling behind." Notice what happens. The event itself lasts only a moment. But the story about me continues for hours, sometimes for years. Imagine an actor walking onto a stage. For 2 hours, he plays the role of a king. He wears beautiful clothes. People bow before him. Everyone calls him Your Majesty. Now imagine that after the play ends, he refuses to take off the costume. He walks through the city, demanding everyone continue treating him like a king. People would immediately recognize the problem. They would say, "You've forgotten it was only a role." The Buddha believed we do something very similar every day. We become so attached to our roles that we forget they are roles. I'm the successful one. I'm the failure. I'm the victim. I'm the smart one. I'm the attractive one. I'm the lonely one. I'm the person nobody understands. These stories slowly become prisons, because once you believe them, everything that happens in life is filtered through them. If someone disagrees with you, your identity feels threatened. If you fail, your entire sense of self begins to shake. If someone rejects you, you don't simply experience rejection, you become rejection. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "This is just who I am. I've always been this way. I'll never change"? Those sentences seem harmless, but they quietly lock the door on growth. The Buddha never denied that we each have different personalities. He simply warned against confusing temporary patterns with permanent identity. A habit is not who you are. A thought is not who you are. A feeling is not who you are. Even your past is not who you are. They are experiences moving through awareness, just like clouds moving across the sky. The sky never becomes the cloud. It simply allows the cloud to appear and disappear. When you begin seeing yourself this way, something remarkable happens. Criticism hurts less. Praise controls you less. Comparison loses its grip. Failure becomes easier to learn from. Success becomes easier to enjoy without clinging to it. For the first time, you begin living with a little more space inside your own mind. But there is still another illusion hiding underneath all of this. Even after people realize they are not their roles, they continue believing happiness is waiting somewhere in the future. Why? Because the mind is always reaching for what it doesn't have, and that endless reaching is the next illusion we must uncover. 3. The mind that always wants more. Now that we've begun to question the idea of a fixed self, a much deeper question appears. If the person you think you are is always changing, then why does the mind never stop searching for something else? Why is it so difficult to simply sit with this moment and feel that it is enough? Why, even after receiving so many blessings, does the heart quietly whisper, "I still need something more"? This is one of the greatest mysteries of the human mind. Most people believe they are chasing happiness, but according to the Buddha, they are actually chasing the feeling that happiness is always somewhere else. There is a huge difference. Imagine standing on the beach while watching the horizon. No matter how far you walk toward it, the horizon keeps moving. It always looks close enough to reach. Yet it never allows itself to be touched. You can spend your entire life walking toward it, without ever arriving. The Buddha said the mind creates happiness in exactly the same way. It points toward the future and says, "Just a little farther, just one more achievement, just one more relationship, just one more success. Then you'll finally feel complete." But every time you arrive, the horizon quietly moves again. That is why so many people feel busy all day, yet strangely empty at night. They spend every hour chasing tomorrow without ever truly living today. Look carefully at how the mind speaks. It rarely says, "This moment is enough." Instead it says, "I'll relax after I finish this. I'll enjoy life after I earn more money. I'll be confident after I lose weight. I'll feel worthy after someone loves me. I'll finally be peaceful after my problems disappear." Notice something. Every sentence pushes peace into the future. The mind becomes a professional at postponing happiness. One day becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. Before you realize it, years have quietly passed. Life did not disappear because of suffering alone. Much of it disappeared because the mind was always preparing to live, instead of actually living. Imagine a donkey walking with a carrot hanging from a stick in front of it. The donkey keeps walking because it believes the carrot is just one more step away. Every step creates hope, but the carrot moves every time the donkey moves. It never arrives. The Buddha believed that most people unknowingly live like this. The carrot changes throughout life. As a child, it is becoming older. As a teenager, it is becoming accepted. As an adult, it may become money, marriage, recognition, status, children, retirement. Even spiritual growth can become another carrot. The object changes, but the habit stays exactly the same, always reaching, never arriving. Think about how often you check your phone each day. Perhaps you are waiting for a message, a notification, a compliment, a like, a piece of good news. For just a second, the notification appears. Your brain feels a small rush of excitement. Then only a few moments later, the feeling disappears, almost automatically. Your hand reaches for the phone again, not because you truly need it, but because the mind has learned to expect another reward. Now replace the phone with almost anything else. Shopping, entertainment, praise, food, achievement. The pattern is surprisingly similar. The mind keeps saying, again, more, just one more. This does not happen because you are weak. It happens because craving feeds itself. The more it is satisfied, the more it grows. Imagine trying to put out a fire by pouring oil onto it. For a brief second, it looks brighter, warmer, more exciting. But instead of disappearing, the fire becomes even larger. Many people unknowingly treat craving this way. Whenever emptiness appears, they immediately look for another distraction, another purchase, another relationship, another goal, another escape. For a few hours, the emptiness becomes quieter. But it never truly disappears, because distractions can cover emptiness. They cannot heal it. The Buddha taught that craving is like drinking salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. At first, this teaching sounds strange. We naturally assume that getting what we want should remove wanting. But real life tells a different story. The person who constantly seeks approval needs even more approval tomorrow. The person obsessed with wealth rarely feels wealthy enough. The person addicted to winning soon needs an even bigger victory. The mind quickly becomes accustomed to every reward. Then it raises the standard, again and again. Have you ever noticed how comparison quietly joins this process? Perhaps you finally buy the car you dreamed about. For a while, you feel proud. Then you see someone driving a newer one. Suddenly, the happiness fades. Nothing about your own car changed. Only your comparison changed. The same happens with careers, relationships, homes, even spiritual practice. Comparison quietly tells the mind, you are still behind. and the chase begins again. This is why two people can be living almost identical lives, yet one feels grateful, while the other feels deeply unhappy. The difference is rarely their circumstances. The difference is where the mind chooses to stand. One mind keeps counting what is missing. The other notices what is already here. The Buddha was not teaching people to stop improving themselves. He was teaching something far more profound. Do not let your peace depend on what has not yet arrived, because the future has no limit. If happiness always depends on having more, then more will never be enough. But there is still one hidden force making this cycle even stronger. Even when life gives us exactly what we wanted, we begin fighting reality itself. We resist change, we resist endings, we resist loss, and that silent resistance may be one of the greatest causes of human suffering. That is the truth waiting for us in the next lesson. 4. The war against reality. There is something the human mind does almost every single day, yet very few people ever notice it. It quietly argues with reality. Not out loud, not with words that other people can hear, but inside the mind, a constant battle is taking place. You wake up in the morning and the weather is different from what you wanted. Immediately the mind says, "It shouldn't be like this." Someone speaks to you in a way you don't like. The mind answers, "They shouldn't have said that." Traffic is slow. Plans change. Someone leaves your life. You become sick. You lose an opportunity. Something breaks. Something ends. And almost instantly, the mind begins fighting what has already happened. The event itself may last only a few minutes, but the argument inside the mind can continue for days, months, or even years. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering does not come from life itself. It comes from refusing to let life be what it already is. Imagine standing in the middle of a river. The water is flowing exactly as rivers have always flowed. But instead of allowing the current to move around you, you decide to push the river backward with your hands. You strain with all your strength. Your body becomes exhausted. Your muscles begin to ache. Hour after hour, you continue fighting. Finally, someone walks by and asks, "What are you doing?" You answer, "I'm trying to make the river flow the way I want." It sounds almost ridiculous. No one would waste their energy trying to stop a river. Yet many of us spend our entire lives trying to stop reality from flowing. We fight yesterday. We fight aging. We fight change. We fight disappointment. We fight the simple truth that everything in life moves. The strange part is, reality never argues back. Only the mind argues. Think about a glass falling from a table. The moment it hits the floor, it shatters. That is the reality. But now listen carefully to what the mind adds. This shouldn't have happened. I'm so careless. Why does this always happen to me? This day is ruined. The broken glass is one experience. The story built around it becomes another. Very often, the story hurts far more than the event itself. The same thing happens after a difficult conversation. Someone says something hurtful. Perhaps their words last only 30 seconds, but long after they leave, the conversation continues inside your mind. You replay every sentence. You imagine what you should have said. You create new arguments that never happened. You picture different endings. Hours later, you are still living inside a moment that has already ended. The other person may have completely forgotten about it, but your mind is still fighting with a memory. Notice what is happening. Reality lasted for a brief moment. Resistance keeps it alive. This is why two people can experience the same event, yet suffer very differently. One person loses their job. They feel sadness. They allow themselves to grieve. Then, little by little, They begin taking the next step. Another person experiences the same loss. But alongside the sadness, the mind keeps repeating, "This should never have happened. My life is over. I can't accept this." Months later, the job is gone, but the inner battle continues. The Buddha never taught that we should never feel pain. Pain is a natural part of being human. If someone you love leaves this world, of course your heart will ache. If someone betrays your trust, of course you will feel hurt. If a dream falls apart, of course you may cry. Buddhism does not ask you to become cold. It asks you to notice what happens after the pain arrives. Does the mind gently hold the pain, or does it begin building a prison around it? Imagine holding a burning piece of charcoal in your hand. The longer you refuse to let go, the more your hand burns. Then imagine blaming the charcoal for your suffering. The Buddha often used similar images to explain attachment. Many times, we continue holding experiences that ended long ago, not because life forces us to, but because the mind refuses to release them. Have you ever replayed an embarrassing moment from years ago? Perhaps you said the wrong thing, made a mistake, failed at something important. You suddenly remember it while lying in bed at night. Your body becomes tense, your face feels warm. It is almost as if the event is happening again. But look closely. Where is that moment now? It no longer exists in the world. It only exists inside the mind. Reality moved on long ago. Only resistance remained behind. The same happens when life changes. A child grows older. Parents grow older. Friends move away. Relationships end. Careers change. Our bodies age. Seasons pass. Nothing stays exactly as it was. Yet the mind whispers, "I want everything to stay the same." It asks flowers never to fade. It asks young faces never to wrinkle. It asks loved ones never to leave. It asks life to stop changing. But change is not a mistake. Change is the nature of existence itself. Imagine standing beneath a tree in autumn. One by one, the leaves begin falling. You become angry. You run around, trying to tape every leaf back onto the branches. For a few moments, you may succeed. But the wind keeps blowing. More leaves fall. Soon you become exhausted, not because autumn is cruel, but because you asked autumn to behave like spring. Many people unknowingly do this with life. They expect permanence in a world built on change. Then they wonder why they suffer. The Buddha invited people to practice a different kind of wisdom. Instead of asking, "How can I stop life from changing?" he asked, "Can I learn to meet change without fighting it?" That question changes everything. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean refusing to improve your life. If your house is leaking, you fix the roof. If you become sick, you seek treatment. If someone behaves cruelly, you can set healthy boundaries. Acceptance is not passivity. Acceptance simply means seeing reality clearly before responding wisely. You stop wasting energy wishing the present moment were different. You begin working with life instead of against it, and something beautiful happens. The heart becomes lighter. The mind becomes quieter. The struggle slowly disappears. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you stop demanding that it be perfect before allowing yourself to find peace. Yet there is one final illusion, the deepest illusion of them all. Even after we stop chasing endlessly, even after we loosen our attachment to identity, even after we stop fighting reality, one habit still quietly creates suffering. It is so ordinary, so familiar, that almost everyone mistakes it for their true self. The Buddha said that until this final illusion is seen, Lasting peace will always remain just out of reach, and that final discovery will change the way you see your own mind forever. 5. The illusion that steals your happiness. We have come a long way together. In the beginning, it looked like happiness was being stolen by circumstances. We believed the problem was not having enough. Then we discovered that the mind keeps moving the finish line. No matter how much we achieve, it quietly whispers, "Keep going." Then we looked deeper. We saw how easily we become trapped inside an identity, a story about who we are, a story we spend our lives trying to protect. After that, we uncovered another hidden habit, the mind's constant resistance to reality, its endless argument with life as it already is. Each of these truths brought us closer to the real source of suffering. But none of them are the deepest illusion. The deepest illusion has been here since the very beginning. It has been listening to every word in this conversation. It has been agreeing, disagreeing, comparing, judging, remembering. It has quietly said, "I understand this. I don't understand this. This applies to me. This doesn't apply to me." The strange part is, most people never stop to ask a simple question. Who is this I that keeps speaking inside my head? Not your name, not your career, not your memories, not your personality. The one who seems to be living behind every thought. The Buddha invited people to investigate this with complete honesty. Not to believe him, not to reject him, but to look directly into their own experience. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice a thought appearing. Perhaps it says, "I hope tomorrow is better," or "I wonder what happens next." Now ask yourself, did you choose that thought before it appeared, or did you simply notice it arriving? Stay with that question. Another thought appears, then another. Some are happy, some are fearful, some are completely random. One moment you are thinking about work. The next moment, your childhood suddenly enters your mind. Then a song, then a conversation, then tomorrow. Thoughts arrive like visitors knocking on the door. Yet most of us immediately say, "My thoughts, my worries, my anxiety, my anger," without realizing it. We become fused with every visitor that enters the mind. Imagine sitting beside a quiet road. Cars pass by every few seconds. Some are small, some are large, some are noisy, some are beautiful. Now imagine forgetting that you are sitting beside the road. Instead, you jump inside every passing car. One car carries you into fear. The next carries you into regret. Another drives you into anger. Another into jealousy. Another into endless planning. By the end of the day, you feel exhausted. Not because the road was exhausting, but because you climbed into every vehicle that passed. The Buddha taught that this is exactly what happens inside the human mind. Thoughts are constantly moving. Feelings are constantly moving. Memories are constantly moving. But instead of watching them, we climb inside them. We believe every thought deserves our complete attention. We believe every emotion tells the truth. We believe every fear predicts reality. And because we believe them, they begin controlling our lives. Have you ever noticed that one small thought can completely change your entire day? You wake up feeling peaceful. Then a single thought appears. What if I fail? Within seconds, your body becomes tense. Your breathing changes. Your mood changes. Nothing in the outside world has changed. Only one thought appeared. Now imagine believing that thought for the rest of the day. Soon, you begin acting as if it were an unquestionable fact. This is how the illusion quietly steals happiness. Not because thoughts exist. Thoughts are natural. The problem begins when we mistake every thought for reality. Imagine standing in front of a clear blue sky. Suddenly, dark clouds begin moving overhead. Would you ever believe that the sky itself has become dark forever? Of course not. You know the clouds are simply passing through. Sooner or later, the blue sky appears again. The Buddha said, "Awareness is like that sky. Thoughts are like the clouds. Clouds never damage the sky. They only pass across it." But most people spend their lives staring only at the clouds. They completely forget the sky has always been there. The same is true for your mind. An anxious thought appears, then disappears. An angry thought appears, then disappears. A joyful thought appears, then disappears. A painful memory appears, then disappears. Everything moves, everything changes. Everything comes and everything goes. There is only one reason suffering stays. We keep inviting passing thoughts to become permanent residents. We decorate them. We argue with them. We defend them. We build our identity around them. The Buddha never asked people to stop thinking. That would be impossible. He simply invited them to stop believing that every thought deserved to be believed. Think about how much of your life has been shaped by stories your mind created. You worried about conversations that never happened. You feared futures that never arrived. You replayed mistakes that everyone else had already forgotten. You imagined people judging you when they were too busy worrying about themselves. You created invisible prisons, then spent years trying to escape them. Reality was often much kinder than the story inside your head. This is why meditation was never about escaping life. It was never about emptying the mind. It was about learning to watch, to sit quietly and notice. A thought appears. You notice it. It leaves. Another thought comes. You notice it. It leaves too. Little by little, something extraordinary begins to happen. For the first time, you realize, I can see my thoughts, and if I can see them, perhaps I am not them. That realization changes everything, because the moment you stop becoming every thought, you stop becoming every fear, every comparison, every regret, every imagined future, every painful story. You begin returning to something that has always been quietly waiting beneath the noise. Simple awareness, stillness, presence. This moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right here, right now. The Buddha once pointed to the moon, but he warned people not to become distracted by the finger pointing toward it. His teachings were never meant to become another belief. They were an invitation to look for yourself, to discover that peace was never hiding in another achievement, another relationship, another version of yourself. Peace was hidden beneath the illusion that your thoughts were who you are. The greatest prison was never built by the world. It was built by unquestioned thinking. And the door was never locked. It was only believed to be. The moment you begin watching the mind instead of obeying it, something inside you becomes wonderfully quiet. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, not because problems disappear, but because you are no longer carrying every thought as if it were your identity. The waves may continue moving across the surface of the ocean. Storms may still come. Winds may still blow. But deep beneath the surface, the ocean remains calm. That calmness has always existed inside you. It has never been created. It has never been destroyed. It has only been covered by the endless noise of the thinking mind. So tonight, before you search for one more answer, one more achievement, one more reason to finally be happy, pause. Take one slow breath. Notice the next thought that enters your mind. Do not chase it. Do not fight it. Simply watch it arrive and watch it leave, because in that quiet moment, you may discover something that cannot be bought, cannot be earned, and cannot be taken away. The happiness you have been searching for was never missing. It was waiting patiently on the other side of the illusion. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: the greatest illusion was never the world around you. It was the belief that lasting happiness could be found by chasing, controlling, or believing every thought that entered your mind. The Buddha taught that peace is not something you create. It is something you uncover when the noise of the mind begins to settle. So tonight, before you go to sleep, take just one quiet minute. Watch your thoughts without following them. You may be surprised to discover that behind the endless movement of the mind, there is a stillness that has been waiting for you all along. And perhaps that stillness is the happiness you have been searching for your entire life. If this message touched your heart, comment below, "I choose peace over illusion." I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections. If this video helped you see your mind in a new way, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future journeys into Buddhist wisdom, inner peace, and lasting freedom. Until next time, take care of your mind, and may you walk each day with greater awareness, compassion, and peace.